my son William's call.
So I don't really have any guesses as to what it is.
And in the folded leather,
There's hundreds of them. Very much
MIDI.
So why are you all here? Well, I can't shine a light in your eyes, but I want you to talk. I want your anecdotes and your object interrogations, your checklists, your mind maps, and your word hoards. That's a Anglo-Saxon phrase. The learned people, they had word hoards, and you could borrow their words from their word hoards. But in fact, I want you all to listen to the language the others use, like a cross-pollination. There are no boxes to tick with today. We don't know what we're going to find. I don't know what you're going to say. You're not allowed to say, I just know.
What I didn't spot, well, what we know that it was spotted, which we might have done by feeling, was that it had been mended with rivets. Do you see
that's
that?
interesting, isn't it?
The handle's been riveted on.
And although one sees that, it just seems so counterintuitive to mend ceramics with rivets, doesn't it?
The glitter is like the HPV virus. It gets everywhere. So we're in here, we're just glittering everything, and then he's got a fan, and it's just blowing it everywhere.
Yeah, this is silk now. So silk, you can go loads finer. Look.
Ooh.
Here's silk.
And what's that object called?
This is the drop spindle, and you can swing it far out as you're walking. But if you were staying at home, this then becomes annoying. So that's when they invent the spinning wheel, because you can have the wheel making it go around.
I tend to use a limited paint range because I tend to try to, if I can't find the colour, I try and create it from what I've got.
Yeah.
But these are a bit of a cheat because they're like, to me, there's many, many different reds here.
Are those blocks of gouache?
I think they are. Okay. Like, look at that one.
But you were using
Bright.
watercolour there, weren't you?
That's watercolour.
Yeah.
And I've moved on to these guys.
Oh, now we've headed into purple
That's
country.
into purple.
Now that's the thing.
Oh, but it's that red more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
No, they're drying a different colour as well.
I think it's...
I used to really separate between materials that I thought were nice, that I identified with, and others that I thought were horrible and that I didn't want to touch. But the more I fall in love with the actual field of textiles, I feel responsible for all textiles. So today Fleur gives me a triangle of some horrible nylon stuff that's compressed to look like real wool, and it's not. It's too small to do anything with it. But I know that you know that would probably really annoy me, because I'll probably take it home and make sure I can make it fit somewhere. But it's sort of, I would probably want to make that fit by adding it next to something else that would balance it out and make it okay. So I'm very unsure about what I love and don't love now.
That resonates with me. I think I have a natural instinct to conserve or repair, conserve, fix. And, you know, as you say, saving something, I have I have to be very careful walking into junk shops and things, because I will see something at a very low ebb and I'll think, I can save that.
So this is sort of sentiment and morality coming into it.
I think, yeah, the subject of empathy.
So when I see a body or a human, then I see a book waiting to be read. It's full of stories. And certain parts of the body will reveal things that have happened that I may empathise with.
Some of the kind of references we make seem to suggest that, in a way, perhaps we struggle to really see a major divide between human matter and other kinds of matters, and one as animate and the other as inanimate. And that, in fact, a lot of the kind of ways in which you, for example, kind of talk about the materials that you use in your work, suggest a kind of relationship with it that is actually not very different from what one would expect if you were seeing it as an animate matter.
When I'm working, I don't speak about what I'm doing. So when Fleur asked me, I was like, oh, I've actually got to verbalise sensations. So can you feel that there's a...
And you were feeling with the palms of your hands?
So I was actually gripping with the base of my palm and then wrapping my fingers into the fronts of the trapezius muscle.
Feeling between...
So my fingers are dipping almost around the edges of the trapezius and pulling against my palms, but just gently, because what I'm also assessing is her response to that. And if there's see, she's already much softer.
You can't see her face.
Oh, but I can feel. If she doesn't like what I'm doing, there'll be a twitch, a nuance, there'll be a sensation, and I can always say, is this too hard?
You might tell me that you've got a pain, and I'd say, well, where is it in your elbow? And you might say it was in your elbow. And I'd say, is it okay if I examine you a little bit? Yeah. Okay. And then I would be probably putting, I would be feeling various anatomical bits and pieces that I'd learnt about bones and stuff, and I'd be putting your joints through a range of movement, and maybe doing that kind of thing. And I would be looking at your face to see when that kind of thing, which I think is what Sam was talking about, and I wouldn't be able to do that from behind. In terms of weight and
were you very musical?
I suppose, music.
So we've got a major disagreement about this.
Major
Because I find that is ugly and ungraduated and scruffy and dull. But then when you press on it, it becomes shiny and perfect and clean and nice looking. And to me,
there is a police car with the sirens on.
To me, that is desirable and nice, and that is ugly and horrible.
There's a lot to do with smells. Association is really powerful.
I was talking earlier about an early 18th century harpsichord I examined recently, and of several other specialists who looked at it, I was the only one to notice that a significant element of it was later, and in my opinion, early 20th century. Initially, it was intuition. What I saw, incidentally, we were talking about also what you can smell sometimes. Timber can be strongly scented, especially if it's not all that old, you know.
The language that you've learned, the language of wood and smell of all of these things, and you're just reading it, you're just skim reading the harpsichord.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a question of trusting what's in front of us?
Sorry, a question?
Trusting what's in front of us. When we're presented with something we know about and we trust what we know already, and that's part of our criteria for when we're looking at this idea of wrongness.
For as long as possible. If you keep your thumb there for as long as possible, that stays steady, yes. Otherwise you're relying on it balancing. So now your thumb will move to here, your fingers will push against the back, and then if you sort of push that way with your thumb and pull in with your fingers that way, you'll find that you can get things to spread out.
Just lost it.
Natural talent, skill, ability, that happens, and I can get that far. If I use my fingers, then my fingers can pull underneath.
So we've got, essentially, the model is a glove blown up within another glove. And the aim is to operate on the outer glove without damaging the inside glove. And if you do, because we were experiencing it's actually very difficult to do without bursting the one below. So one of the jobs will be to take a finger off and leave the other finger below using these super sharp scalpels.
Okay.
Which Chris has managed to get because they retract, which is lovely. I know when I did it earlier I picked two up and I can feel that one's clicked back. So I picked both up there and I have to slightly relax, and so I can feel
there's two layers. But as soon as I have the forceps on my fingers,
and then lift it up in the air a little bit. Did you feel it go? Yeah.
That's
that was so satisfying. I think you've got to like your materials as well as and feel sort of in sympathy with them. A physical feeling that would be comfortable, fit comfortably.